Hey guys, Danica here for Life Skills this week. So today's topic is going to be resumes, and I'm going to run you through some tips for when you need to write your resume. So stay tuned. Okay guys, so as you can see we have a few templates here. You can pick and choose whichever one you want. These are just the ones I've found online. And I'm going to be using this one here in particular to kind of run through it with you guys and show you some key things. So firstly, obviously you have your details at the top. So you generally always have name, email number, and your address. To begin with, you generally start with a summary of yourself. So as it says here, it has what they call an elevator pitch. So that's a brief introduction to yourself. Here is a good place to include some of your strengths. So you can say how you're maybe a good team player. I mean, obviously you're good at teamwork, or you're very reliable. And you can also include here how you're just eager to start working, especially if it's you applying for your first job. So you can include just how eager you are to start working, and again, the skills you can bring to it. Also in a summary, it's a good time to use some information that might be in the job description, which as you can see, they generally list different skills or responsibilities that you'll need to have. So by including some of those key buzzwords in your elevator pitch, that could also be helpful in them recognizing that you're keen and are demonstrating the skills they're looking for. If you continue to look, that's where you have your previous job history, which obviously if you don't have any, you can just say different things you've been a part of. So if you've done any volunteering, that's always a great place to put it. Also, if you've had any kind of leadership roles, maybe with some of your sporting teams, any achievements you've gained at school are always good as well. If you're not applying for your first job, then obviously you'd go through your previous employment history. So like it says here, you'd put what your main role was, your starting, like the month and year you started that job, along with the month and year that you finished working that job. And then you'd have a couple dot points, well I personally use dot points, of what your role was in that job. And then you can lay it out like this. You don't have to. With mine, I just personally have the role title, where it was, month and year, and then just a bunch of dot points of what I did for that job. If you only have the one previous job, that's fine. If you have multiple, that's fine as well. You generally only want your resume to fit on like a page and a half or 2 pages. You don't want it to be much bigger than that. So for example, if you're going for a job in customer service and you have a previous job that you've done that doesn't really line up with that and is very different, it might not display your skills, or that skill set might not align with this new job that you're going for. So you might not necessarily include that because it won't show the similar skills. And then you include your education. So again, if it's your first job, you can include your primary school and your high school. But if you're a little bit older, you won't include your primary school. It'll just be high school and whatever other kind of schooling you've done, or if you've done any kind of trainings, for example first aid, that's where you'd put it. Or if you've done say food handling or your RSA, that's also where you'd put it. Here where it says key skills, I personally do not include this. It's kind of up to you whether or not you do that, because you want to try and do that throughout your summary and throughout your key responsibilities to try and demonstrate those. But obviously if you want to add these, there's no harm in it. So again, skills you could use are, again, reliable is always a good one, because if you're not reliable, it's very, like, you're not gonna get shifts, you're not gonna be able to work. Time management is always good, because especially if you need to potentially meet deadlines for the job, you always want to demonstrate that you can meet those. Being flexible, especially with a lot of jobs, sometimes there isn't a lot of structure to it, so you could be doing different things different days. So you want to make sure you can roll with that and be able to do what you need to do no matter the circumstance. Again, teamwork, that's always one employers are looking for, because 9 times out of 10 you're going to be working with others. So just making sure you're able to get along with everyone and kind of navigate how to deal with different people. And then lastly, you will have your references. So again, if it's your first time job, you will get generally what's called a character reference. So that can be, say, a neighbor, or if you've, I don't know, mowed lawns for different people in your community. One of those people might be a good person to tell your potential future employer about you and like how you operate and work. Other people that might work is like teammates of yours or a coach of yours if you play a sport. Otherwise, if it is not your first time applying for a job, you would use former employers. I personally always say it's good to have 3 at least, because an employer will always do at least two reference checks. So if you have 3 and they can't get a hold of one of them, they always have 2 people that they can contact. So yeah, hopefully you guys have enjoyed this little kind of walkthrough of a resume. If you have any tips that you guys use, comment those down below. Stay tuned for next week. I'll be running through an example of a cover letter and kind of give you the same kind of rundown along with some more little tips that you can use. So yeah, bye.